Last year, here at Milan Dragway, Pro Funny Car driver Don Prudhomme chute failed to deploy properly, sending his car into the runoff area. Don found himself assisting in the salvage operation. Prudhomme was back, however, for the finals, but was beaten by Kenny Bernstein. Kenny Bernstein! Hardly lead halfway. Bernstein wins! This year, the #1 qualifier in funny cars is Dale Pouldie at 5.735. Ed McCullough has turned in the fastest speed at 262.39 miles an hour. The late Lee Shepard won last year's Pro Stock Finals here at Milan. This year, the #1 Pro Stock qualifier is Bruce Allen at 7.460. Bob Glidden has established a new world speed record of 190.27 miles an hour. Welcome to the Motorcraft Northern Nationals, an IHRA drag race here in Milan, Michigan. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Larry Newber. Larry, it seems every time we do one of these races, we talk about speeds. The speeds continue to go up. Bob Glidden with a tremendous performance already.
Absolutely, Bob. You know, a couple years ago, well, maybe 10 years ago, and I used to do a lot of public address, I used to sign off by saying, speed is for the speedways and the dragways. Well, I didn't know how much about the 1985 drag racing season I was going to be talking about. With Glidden's mark now, combining NHRA and IHRA, all 5 of the professional divisions have set brand new mile-per-hour speed records in 1985. A couple of weeks ago, Don Prudhomme made his funny car go 266 miles an hour, and it wasn't that long ago when pro stockers only went 170 and pro funny cars 240. Things have really changed.
Let's talk about the favorites in today's activity. First, in the funny car division, probably Dale Pouldie. He's won 2 in a row.
He really has, and the interesting thing is this is a brand new car. He debuted it the last time that IHRA got together, an electric yellow color, very fast. He comes in here with a lot of confidence.
And in pro stock, perhaps Bruce Allen.
Absolutely. He's picked up the slack where the late Lee Shepard left off. He's had a second and a first, and here he goes again. Looks like he might be in line for another win.
Our regular in the pit area again this week is Marty Reed. Let's go to him for his opening comments.
Hi, guys. Don't worry, I haven't abandoned you. And no, Ed the Ace McCullough has not lost all his marbles. He's not about to let me take the Miller American Oldsmobile down the track at over 260 miles an hour. But what we are doing is essential to every drag race. It's called the warm-up. It's the last opportunity that the crew chiefs and the drivers get to check everything out, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure all the gauges register where they are supposed to. Because the next time the body comes down on this 3,000 horsepower monster, it's for real.
Marty, it's time to go.
Ed, time to go?
Yeah.
I'm out of here, and you're in.
All right, Marty, we look forward to your reports throughout the afternoon. The Motorcraft Northern Nationals are being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light, Fire Brewed for smoother taste, and by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. Back with more from Milan, Michigan in just a moment.
This is not the typical funny car vehicle that Kenny Bernstein would normally be driving, but the Budweiser King Ford Motorcraft Tempo is out of action because of a serious crash yesterday where things just exploded in the motor, and you had a hands full.
Well, it was one of those unfortunate days, Marty, for the Budweiser King Motorcraft Tempo, but those things kind of come and go with racing. It's been a good season so far, and I guess it's our time to face a little adversity, but we did make the run. The car did throw the rods out, the connecting rods in the motor. Had a little bit of a fire going. At the same time, it hung an intake valve and exploded the supercharger on top, and yeah, it was a handful at the time, but all the safety equipment inside the car and everything worked, and we're put it back together.
One thing I can guarantee you, that in racing it is a cyclical thing, and the Budweiser King will be back pounding the pavement and winning again. You want to try driving this thing?
Yeah, I think this will be a lot safer since I got a nice Sunday afternoon drive, Marty.
Whoa! So there will be a new funny car champ. Kenny Bernstein is out of this one. Now, there are the quarterfinalists in the Pro Funny Car division. We get set for our first contest of the afternoon, McEwen against Correnti. We asked McEwen what he thinks of at the line.
I'm just, you know, I go through my wet, smoky burnout type thing, and raise the lid and back up so the smoke gets out of the car. Watch my temperature gauges and try to get the motor at the right temperature for the leave. And once I do all that, then my main concentration is leaving on the light, being on time. And, you know, of course, that's got an awful lot to do with how win or lose.
Tom the Mongoose McEwen from Fountain Valley, California. He's 47 years old, driving the Coors Corvette. And his opponent in this quarterfinal round will be Ron Correnti, who hails from El Monte, California.
Bob McEwen has not made a finalist yet this year with either NHRA or IHRA. There's Correnti. You can see the 13. That's where he qualified. Here's another Californian. He's driving the Captain Crazy car, Gary Southern's car. As you can see, it's unpainted. It's brand new. He has not made it to any set of finals yet in 1985 for either NHRA or IHRA.
Correnti turned a 249.3 in his opening round, and McEwen with a 251 when he beat Scott Coletta. So now we get set for this first round of the quarterfinals. Ron Correnti against Tom the Mongoose McEwen.
And without a doubt, McEwen, with all of his experience and all the wins behind him, he certainly is the favorite here. He out-qualified Correnti by 8 positions. He was the 5th fastest qualifier. And what a handful this could turn out to be for Correnti. He is going after one of the toughest guys in all of drag racing, the Mongoose.
So the escape hatch being fastened on the Correnti car, and the machines are being moved up now to the staging area. As we get set for this run, it is McEwen in the far lane and Correnti in the near lane.
McEwen in the red car, a veteran of 31 drag racing seasons.
Both off the line real well, but it looks like that McEwen on the far lane has the advantage, and I think McEwen got him, but not by very much, and a big plume of smoke coming from Correnti's car at the line.
Boy, Correnti did a good job. He gave it all he had. As you saw, he came on very strong at the very end of the run. He almost caught the Mongoose. I think it might have cost him an engine, but he also finished only second.
Well, let's take a look at it once again. As you will see, it's a pretty good match coming off the line.
It really was. The veteran McEwen didn't really get that big of an advantage over Correnti at the start-finish, or rather the start line, and Correnti really comes on strong and just barely really gets nosed out there on the videotape replay.
5.867, a 248-mile-an-hour run. Tom McEwen, he moves to the semis, and our next quarterfinal round has Dale Pouldie from Granada Hills, California, in this Miller Warrior against Jim Head, who hails from Columbus, Ohio. And we also had an opportunity to ask Jim Head what he feels at the starting line.
You can check all your gauges, make sure that the car's ready to go forward. You got to be in low gear because you do the burnout in high gear. I've got 3 or 4 lean outs that I have to make sure are positioned properly. The brake, the RPM's right. Quite a few things.
Jim Head defeating John Lombardo in the opening round, and Pouldie triumphed over Rick Deschner in the opening round. There is the rear end of Pouldie's car, a beautiful machine, and the light goes on. Pouldie with the whole shot, and Pouldie with the victory. Not too much of a contest there for Dale Pouldie.
Boy, he made it look easy. As we told you, he comes in here on a winning streak. He goes 241 miles an hour there. He has won 2 in a row. Nobody has won 3 IHRA in a row since 1977 when he did it himself.
The replay will show that Pouldie got off the line quickly and held the advantage all the way down the strip.
Boy, the Miller Warrior, that electric gold color, I'll tell you, that is really a beautiful car. Brand new Buick. The car's about a month old.
It's a 241-mile-an-hour run. 5.823. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Okay, Snake, last year, this was not a great race for you because of the accident at the top end. Will that play on your mind at all? Do you remember events from the years past?
Well, each time you come back to a racetrack where we've had problems, certainly you think about it, but it really prompted us to do something since the last time we were here at Milan. We added front-wheel brakes on the car. And as you may see down here that last year when the car was bouncing along down at the end of the quarter mile, we noted the front wheels were on the ground, the rear wheels were bouncing, so we put some front runners on it now to apply some pressure to the front of the car, which I believe in the future you'll see all funny cars with four-wheel brakes.
And it's helped a lot.
Well, it certainly has, yes. It allows us to stop the car a lot quicker. They don't do as strong a job as the rear-wheel brakes do, but they certainly do help to get the car to a faster stop.
Don Prudhomme will go against Billy Meyer in our next quarterfinal run. We'll be back with more from Milan, Michigan after these messages. Join us for Speed Week every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time for the latest in the world of motorsports, including drag racing. Speed Week, Thursday nights. To Marty Reed with special guests in the pit area.
Well, millions of Americans and people around the world have seen the power that these hands possess, but this weekend here at Milan, Michigan, the power is not going to be in the boxing ring for Thomas Hearns, but it's going to be under the hood of Harold Martin's car.
Yeah, I decided to get into the races with my partner here, Harold. Harold's been doing it now for quite a few years, and I just decided now to come in and try to give him a hand.
Harold, does he know his mechanics very well?
Surprisingly, real well. I've been surprised on many occasions of his abilities of hands-on experience.
Have you ever had the desire to drive this piece?
As a youngster, I always wanted to drive fast. I'm a fast driver, even off the track. So I decided to put it to use and get on the track and see what I really can do.
Make a few bucks instead of spend a few with the police department.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
All right, thank you, Marty. Good to see the hitman here with us this afternoon. Billy Meyer is next to go in the quarterfinals against Don Prudhomme. Billy, of course, from Waco, Texas, is 30 years old in the 711 Chiefs Auto Parts Ford Mustang. And his opponent, Don Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California, 44 years of age. He's driving the Pepsi Wendy's Pontiac Trans Am. We ask him what he thinks about when he approaches the start line.
If it's hitting on all 8 cylinders and it's performing well, the rest of it's almost a piece of cake, you know, to run the race. You know, I've been doing it so long, it just comes automatic to you. But the most important thing to me is the performance of the car, how the engine sounds, and etc.
Don the Snake Prudhomme getting set to go against Billy Meyer here in the quarterfinals at Milan.
You know, Bob, this has all the trappings of what could be a real classic matchup. The number 3 qualifier Prudhomme, the Snake, against Waco Willie. Billy Meyer, of course, has done well in NHRA racing, was the 1980 Pro Funny Car National IHRA champ. He was the 6th fastest qualifier this weekend here at Milan. He won 3 races in 1984, second in points to Mark Osborne.
We talked about speeds earlier. Don Prudhomme was the first driver to break the 250 mile-an-hour barrier.
Trouble. He breaks loose. No, he's coming back. He's going to win this, Bob. Well, unbelievable.
The chute deployed on Don Prudhomme's car way early after Billy Meyer got off to a bad start, and Meyer, by golly, came back to win.
Boy, it's overworked, but Yogi Berra once said it's never over till it's over, and I'll tell you, Meyer had all but given up, I'm sure, sitting in the cockpit. Watch him lose traction here. Shortly after leaving the line, looks like Prudhomme has everything all to his liking. Meyer, you see, smoking the tire right there. Prudhomme streaks away, then the chute prematurely pops open.
And it gives you an indication of how drastically the cars can slow down after the chute is deployed. So some bad luck on the part of Don Prudhomme, and Billy Meyer will move into the semifinals. Now, moving into our next competition, this is Ed McCullough getting ready to go against Tim Gross.
McCullough is a guy who's having a year that perhaps might be a little more than he would like or than he would have expected when the season began, because he's been coming on pretty strong in recent months.
Now in first round action against D.A. Santucci, here's what happened with Ed McCullough.
We can see Santucci is on the left there in the dark-colored car. He gets off of the course. The car starts to bounce around violently. And the report afterwards was the reason why Santucci's car came to a halt, he was actually knocked unconscious in that incident.
Didn't look like a real serious situation since the car was just sitting there bouncing, but Santucci was indeed knocked unconscious during that little incident. Tim Gross, who hails from Saugus, California. He's 32 years of age. He is going up against Ed McCullough here in the quarterfinals.
Gross has not been to a final round yet in 1985 in either IHRA or NHRA.
But both his final round appearances in Pro Funny Cars has come here at the Milan Dragway. Oh, the blower explodes on McCullough's car, and Tim Gross is going to move into the semis.
Well, for Ed McCullough, we assume everything is okay. You know, the same thing happened the last time IHRA was on ESPN. Problems in the engine compartment, the blower bursting out through the hood of the car, breaking the front windshield, and Ed having to come to a stop. You can see the hatch coming up. Apparently he is okay. He begins to emerge from the inside cockpit area of that funny car. Everything seems to be okay.
We take a look at it once again and watch carefully. Just as he gets off the starting line, the blower will explode and fly off of the race car.
There you see him on the left. He gets a pretty good hole shot. He starts to blast away out of the lights, and bang, right away. It happens very suddenly. You can see the violence that occurs whenever an incident like that happens as far as drag racing goes.
Ed McCullough is okay. Tim Gross wins that quarterfinal match and now moves into the semis. You can see that Ed is out of the car and in good shape. So we'll be back with more now from Milan Dragway as we present the Motorcraft Northern National. Quarterfinalists for the Pro Stock Division, and our first contest of the afternoon will feature Billy Ewing against Ricky Smith.
Now, Johnny Dowie and Ronnie Sox were the two guys in the top 8 qualifiers who have not made it to our final 8 here this weekend.
Ricky Smith, the only IHRA driver to capture both world championships in sportsman and professional eliminators. His opponent, Billy Ewing from Snellville, Georgia. He's 35 years of age.
You know, Ewing won at Darlington earlier this year. Remember that race that went all the way into the darkness? And he won it with what I called laser-like driving. He was just outstanding, driving straight down the middle of the strip on all of his runs. He is the only man to win in this division other than Bruce Allen so far this year.
Should be a good race. Smith in the near lane, Ewing in the far lane. Both get off the line about equally. Smith pulling to a slight advantage midway down, and Ricky Smith wins.
Ricky Smith, who picks up a win here in the quarterfinals. Somewhat of a surprise, really, in 1985. Everybody kind of assumed, including me, that when Lee Shepard had his demise, that Ricky Smith would be the heir apparent, but he has not made the finals in either NHRA or IHRA so far in 1985.
Well, here's a replay, and you can see that Ricky raised the front tires just a little bit, but nevertheless was able to hold on for a win.
Well, his reaction times are among the very best in all of drag racing, and I think it really helped him out in this race.
7.546 ET for Ricky Smith. Next to go, Jim Ruth against Roy Hill from Sophia, North Carolina. Jim Ruth is from Moorhead, Kentucky in the Party Time Pontiac Trans Am. We asked Roy Hill about what he thinks of at the starting line.
There's a lot of confusion in the cockpit. But I just think about how I'm going to beat the guy that's beside me. I'm on kill. It's just an instinct that I've got. It's something I think you're born with.
That is Roy Hill, his opponent Jim Ruth, as we get set for this race here in the quarterfinals.
Hill, one of the fastest pro stockers of all time. He went 188 in the quarterfinals here this week. He could be tough in this race. Wait a minute, Hill is still there.
Hill did not get off the line, and Jim Ruth has an easy win. Why Roy Hill did not move, we don't know.
Well, there's no smoke, no noise, no fire. Don't know exactly why Hill would have just sat there at the line. As we mentioned, he had done very well in his quarterfinal round. Hill gets out of his pro stocker. A little bit of confusion down there. Let's see if we can pick up exactly what happened in the replay. Oh, he red-lighted, Bob.
I'll be darned. It didn't look like the car moved at all, but apparently it moved enough to trigger the red light. Didn't look like the car moved at all, but it did, and Roy Hill is eliminated from the competition. Well, we thought it would be interesting for everyone to know what speeds these men who travel 260 miles an hour or so down these drag strips, what speed they drive on the highway. Here's Marty Reed.
I know you can do 250 miles an hour out here. What I want to know is, what do you drive like on the freeway?
I have a lot of tickets, actually. I've tried to fly as much as I can anymore, but it's I never get any tickets in town. I just get them on the freeway as I'm going to the airports every week.
I've got around 150 to 200 speeding tickets in my life, but also remember, we travel anywhere from 100 to 150,000 miles a year.
Well, I try to keep up with traffic, whatever that is. 75.
I rarely drive on the freeway. When I do, I think I'm a common driver. We drive 60, 65 miles per hour.
We're right at 58 mile an hour. I'm not into speed on the highway, so I get all my kicks on the racetrack.
Quite slow, to be honest with you. Plus, I wear my seatbelts all the time, myself and my family.
I drive 55, 60 miles an hour. I drive the speed limit. I'm in no hurry to go anywhere. I get enough racing out here. In my younger days, I used to be a little wilder, but I just want to get where I'm going now.
Well, unfortunately, the speed limit's 55, but I have a real hard time going 55.
I don't drive too fast. We run pretty good, I'd like to say that. I don't want to say how fast, but as many miles as we travel from California to Florida, if you don't run over the speed limit, you're just not going to hardly ever get anywhere,
Oh, normally 65 or whatever.
Actually, at home, I drive fairly safe and sane. I have a nice car at home. I just cruise around in. I don't, out in Los Angeles, you can't drive very fast. There's too much traffic anyway.
Like the trip coming here to Milan, I got 3 speeding tickets in Ohio. Ohio is the worst I've ever seen. 2 of them was within 17 minutes. They varied from 58 mile an hour to 78 mile an hour. I got one for 58, then 64, and then 78. So it's my own fault. There's a law out here, we all should abide by them. But these big rigs just get away from you sometimes.
We'll be back at Milan with more Pro Stock quarterfinals in a moment.
What's left of the blower of Ed the Ace McCulloch's Miller Oldsmobile, and Ed, it's a recurring nightmare for you.
Well, Marty, it's just like we talked about it earlier in the day, what causes these things. Once again, it's a driveline related problem. It broke a transmission. The car was making a real good move out there. It left real strong, was making a real good run. Goes out there, the top end of low gear, something broke in the transmission. The RPMs are already quite high, and just when it breaks, the motor goes up just a little higher, tags the valve, and blows the blower off. I mean, we've been plagued with this problem, and both the dragsters and the funny car, and, even other guys in the pits, when the motor's up that high and something breaks, you just can't catch it.
Well, one of these times, things are going to come together for Ed the Ace McCulloch, and look out, because the power that this car is making, he's going to win some races.
All right, thank you, Marty. Pro Stock quarterfinals continue. Bob Glidden is up against Tim Neighbors in this round. Bob Glidden, of course, from Whiteland, Indiana, a suburb of Indianapolis, and Tim Neighbors hails from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Bob Glidden was the 1976 IHRA World Champion. And, Bob, what do you think about when you approach the starting line?
My thought should be to go to the starting line and run my race and drive the car and do the best I can do to get down the racetrack. I really don't know what I've been thinking, but that's what it should be.
And And there is Tim Neighbors, a 22-year-old, one of the youngest pro drivers on the circuit. His home is in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's taking over the reins from his father, Calvin Neighbors, full-time for 1985.
Yeah, Tim has not made any finals in 1985. What Glidden was referring to, he's been to 4 NHRA finals. He's got only 1 win, and for him, that's not a good season.
Like Tim Neighbors has the whole shot off the line.
Here comes Glidden. Can he catch him? Does he have enough time?
Oh,
boy, looks close.
It was a really close race. I would not even speculate as to who won. It looks like the Bob Glidden crew is celebrating.
No, that looked like Tim Neighbors' crew, Bob.
It is. Tim Neighbors has beaten Bob Glidden with a 7.639 ET, a 185.56 mile-an-hour run for Tim Neighbors.
Well, the clocks tell us, Bob, that Glidden went faster in miles per hour. He had a lower ET, but the electric eye is also telling us that Neighbors won. Let's see what we can see here on the replay. They both approached the line together. It looks like...
Oh, boy, it looks like that Glidden clipped him there at the line just by a couple of inches.
Can an electric eye and a videotape machine show different things?
All right, set to go now is Bruce Allen, who won his first IHRA National at Bristol, Tennessee. His opponent is Jerry Yeoman from Galena, Kansas.
Yeah, Allen is having just a great season. There is Yeoman. Yeoman, the Kansas driver, was the 9th fastest qualifier. He, by the way, was the one who beat Ronnie Sox to get here. Off the line together, both of them come out of the whole shot, but here comes Allen. He turns on the horses in that rear and Morrison Camaro, and boy, he made it look easy at the top end.
Bruce Allen, a 187.89 mile-an-hour run. So we'll be back with more from the Motorcraft Northern Nationals at Milan Dragway after these messages.
This high-energy experimental car stays efficient only if its spark plugs stay alive. Plugs capable of surviving surges to 38,000 volts. Motorcraft. Extended tip. Engineered to conserve fuel, Motorcraft Extended Tip ruthlessly eliminates power-blocking sooty carbon without eliminating itself in the process. Quality parts for all makes of cars. Motorcraft exceeds the need.
We're down with Bob Glidden here in the pits, and according to the win-loss light, you were a second-round loser, but you don't think so?
Well, it was a very close race. I was late on the starting line. The Neighbors kid did leave on a good light. I thought I'd won the race at the finish line, or it was questionable. You know, I knew it was close. Someone came to the trailer a few moments ago and said on a replay, it appeared that we won, so we'll just have to wait and see what the results are.
Are you going to protest?
Well, if someone from the sanctioning body will watch the tape and you know, cameras don't lie. Occasionally we do have problems with the lights, but if it appears that we won the race, then I will. If not, well, I won't.
As you can tell, very disappointed, Bob Glidden.
Well, from our camera angle, it looked like that perhaps Glidden did nip Tim Neighbors, but for now, Neighbors moves into the semis.
Yeah, but Bob, here's an option. Maybe aerodynamics have played a role in this. It's possible that Neighbors' bodywork tripped the electric eye, whereas Glidden's time was not stopped until his front tire hit the electric light.
Out here to see if we can keep up that points lead. We're not looking to set the world on fire, but we just want to keep that even lead. We don't want to count our chickens before they hatch on the deal.
The comment from Dale Puldee, he has won 2 IHRA races already this year. He was the world champion in 1977 and 82. He's up against Tom McEwen here in the semifinal round.
Boy, things right now are rolling right along for Puldee. I can't really believe they've been able to get this much success out of a new car. They did a lot of thrashing around this week. They said they weren't happy until last night. The Stroh's Night of Fire came along, and all of a sudden, Puldee was right there. The other thing he has going for him, Bob, great consistency. He's been very good on his reaction times at the line. The car has not been the fastest in terms of miles per hour, but they have been terribly consistent. And right now, Puldee looks like the man to beat, Bob.
Certainly the experience nod will go to Tom the Mongoose McEwen because he has over 30 years of experience and about 12 years as far as actual age is concerned.
Off the line, they both pull up rather even hole shot. Pole D looks like he's coming on. Boy, that was
another
close too,
race.
Bob. Wow.
Big puff of smoke from Tom McEwen's car after the finish line. But Dale Puldee is the winner with a 250.69 run, 5.792.
And once again, the clocks are showing that his average speed in terms of miles per hour was slower than McEwen's, but he got to that line quicker.
So Dale Puldee will move into the finals of today's activity here at the Motorcraft Northern Nationals. Let's take a look at a replay of this run. They were off the line pretty evenly, Larry, but Puldee just pulled it ahead as they went down.
You could see just a touch there. Puldee seemed to have the advantage. You know, he didn't win in 1984. He was very disappointed. He's come back in 1985, this two-time national champion, and boy, he really looks strong.
Good race, good race. So our next semifinal event has Billy Meyer against Tim Gross. Meyer in the previous round defeated Don Prudhomme, and Tim Gross, of course, was a winner over Ed McCullough.
Of course, Billy Meyer against Tim Gross, a couple of well-known sponsors. Both of these sponsors are in all forms of racing. That car, if you squint your eyes a little bit, looks a little bit like Tom Sneeva's Indy car. I suppose I'm stretching it just a bit. That, of course, is Tim Gross, the man who used to live in Michigan and now has moved out to California.
Billy Meyer finished second in points last year on the IHRA Winston circuit. Tim Gross in 1979 stopped Kenny Bernstein for a win here in Milan, and in 82, Gross fell to Raymond Beadle in the final. So Milan Dragway has been rather kind to Tim Gross. See what he does here against Billy Meyer.
At one time, Bob, of course, this was his home race course, and I can't stress how much work this crew has been doing on this car. This is a very old engine. This is the engine he won with here back in 1979. Parts have been flying in and flying out from all over the country all weekend here to the Detroit area, the Milan drag strip, to go into this race car, and the crew has rebuilt this car several times, but they keep getting it together just in time to run.
Gross near lane, Meyer far lane.
Side by side, here comes Gross. You could see him on that shot. Gross was coming on, but then Meyer seemed to come on at the end. Who got it, Bob?
Another close race. It's going to be a determinant. Tim Gross with 235 miles an hour and a 5.819 is the winner over Billy Meyer.
And you can see the Gross teams celebrating there. Tim Gross at 5.819. Billy Meyer, by the way, turned a 5.894 and lost.
Looks like that Meyer may have beat him off the line just by a fraction of a second.
You know, it's possible that Meyer pulled the trigger on a chute just a little too soon that time.
Let's go to Marty Reed with a report from the tower.
If you think a lot of action takes place down in the pits or at the starting line, well, it does, but this is the control tower where the nerve center of the whole operation is taking place. You can hear all the noise behind me going on. Each lane has its own indicator for elapsed time and mile per hour. Plus, there's a reaction timer. We can tell you exactly how quick each man is off the starting line.
Mickey Smith gets ready to go. We'll be back for the Pro Stock semifinals in just a moment.
Tim Gross's pit, things have been fast and furious all weekend long. After scarring all kinds of parts during qualifying and barely making it to today's first round, barely making it to today's semifinals, here they are in the final round trying to get ready to go up against Dale Puldee. And Puldee has been running so smooth, so clean. The question is, can Tim Gross pull off one more upset?
And Dale Puldee's pit is rather busy, too. He's even got the wife washing some parts there as they prepare for their final against Tim Gross. Now we move into the semifinals of the Pro Stock Division, and this is Tim Neighbors against Jim Ruth.
Remember, Neighbors is that young 22-year-old who beat Bob Glidden, Jim Ruth in the Party Time car. You know why they call it Party Time? Because when you get beat, that's what you get to go and do. But so far, not yet today for Ruth.
Looks like that Tim Neighbors may have a problem. The crew is opening the door, and this does not look good.
Bob, I think he was staged, and if that is true, that means they may be throwing in the towel, because once you're staged, the officials assume that you're ready to go, and that light can go at any time. Yeah, they're pushing the car back, Bob.
They are pushing him back, so it means that Jim Ruth will go down all alone and move into the finals, and of course he'll be standing on the accelerator in order to get lane preference.
No party time yet for Jim Ruth as the 11th qualifier from Kentucky moves on.
Now we're getting set for the run featuring Ricky Smith against Bruce Allen.
I go up there and keep my head straight and do kind of what I got planned to do. You know, if the other guy wants to do something different, I kind of watch around and see what he's going to do, you know, let him do it, and then I do my thing right at the last minute and go on, you know, and race the guy, you know. I don't have a set pattern.
Ricky Smith getting ready to go in the far lane against Bruce Allen.
Ricky Smith, the man who was the only person to beat the great Lee Shepherd in the 1984 season, going up against the guy who has replaced Lee Shepherd. Nobody's filling his shoes, but this is the guy who has replaced him in his ride.
Cars being staged now, each car getting up to the starting line as close as possible without tripping that red light.
Allen in the near lane and Smith in the far lane. And Smith moves up, no red light. Allen also nudged a little earlier. And he nudges again, no red light, Bob. I can't believe it. And boy, they both do get off the line in fine fashion.
Good even start. Let's see how it winds up at the end of the drag strip. Looks like that Bruce Allen did nip Ricky Smith, but not by much.
Wow, what a classic race. And there, look at the speed, 191, almost 191 and a half miles an hour. And if that is official, and yes it is, that is a potential new world's record for pro stock racing.
It was an excellent run. Both cars off the line just about equally, and they were close all the way down, but Allen pulling off the win here by just a fraction of a second.
Of course, Allen has to come back now in the finals and come within 1% of that 191.48 mile per hour run to make it official.
Now we're going to bring you the finals in the Sportsman class. Our first division, the Stock Eliminator, and the contestants, Ken Hutchinson in the near lane against Ken Schaubner in the far lane.
Well, a couple of people from neighboring states. Hutchinson from Indianapolis, he's 34 years of age. Schaubner from Ohio. Schaubner in an E-Stock automotive, and Hutchinson in his A-Stocker in the near lane in this handicap race is the winner.
Ken Hutchinson wins the Stock Eliminator class. In Super Stocks, it's Mike Boyles in the far lane against Bobby Morris, near lane.
A 1957 Chevrolet wagon, good old Charlie Brown for Mike Boyles in that far lane. He's had over 3,000 starts. It's one of the oldest cars in competition in America and one of the winningest of all times. He's won 4 world championships with this machine.
Now the modified division, Ricky Mounts in the near lane against Fred White.
Mounts is from Somerset, Kentucky. White is also from down there near the Mason-Dixon line, Kingsport, Tennessee to be exact. White in a 1965 Corvette in this handicap dialed-in race for modifieds is the winner.
Nice run by Fred White, the winner in modifieds. Now in top Sportsman Eliminator, it's Mike Bazell in the near lane against John Coughlin in the far lane.
Well, Coughlin is only 22 years of age. He's driving a dragster. Many of you who watch ASA racing probably recognize the name Jags Automotive. Yep, same company. This is the drag racing family, the Coughlins from Columbus, Ohio, but the winner was Mike Bazell.
Now moving on to the Hot Rod Finals. Dennis Hill will be in the far lane against Ronald Zeller.
Now, this is one of those divisions that has a breakout speed. In other words, you cannot go faster than 10.90 seconds in this division, or you're a loser. Zeller is in the left lane, and Dennis Hill is in the far lane or the right lane. In the left lane, Ronald Zeller is the winner.
Super Rod division, it's David Rampy against Tim McGuire. McGuire in the near lane and Rampy in the far lane.
Another breakout division, 9.90 is the breakout time on this particular division. McGuire's lone national event win was in 1984, but he's a winner here again in Milan.
And finally in Quick Rod, the far lane is Steve Grady. Near lane is Henry Korlak.
Kind of a budget type racing for pro drags people if you'd like. 8.90 is the breakout speed, and in the far lane, Steve Grady becomes the winner.
Those are the final runs in the Sportsman class here at the IHRA Motorcraft Nationals at Milan, Michigan. We'll be back with the funny car and the stock finals right after this. Newber and Marty Reed back at Milan. This is the Pro Stock Eliminator chart. This is how things have gone throughout the afternoon, and we're ready now for the finals in Pro Stock. It'll be Jim Ruth against Bruce Allen. The first time this year that Jim Ruth has been in a final run.
And Ruth, of course, getting to the finals because both of his 2 previous competitors or 2 previous opponents broke, Tim Neighbors and Roy Hill. Bruce Allen in the wake of that great season. He's been in the last 2 IHRA finals, which he has won 1. He has been in the finals of both NHRA and IHRA in 1985. You know, in the beginning, the reaction time of this young driver trying to step into this equipment and this team was a little bit suspect, but recently he's been showing rapid improvement.
Alan is a 34-year-old engine builder from Lapeer, Michigan.
Remember, he went 191.48 in his last round. He has to come within 1% of that to call it officially a world's record.
Allen off the line, just slightly faster than Ruth, and it looks like it's going to be an easy win for Bruce Allen. Yes, Allen wins.
Boy, if, yep, I was going to say...
He did it, too.
191.4, that's his exact same time that he turned in the semifinal run. I was going to say that if watching it was any indication, it looked like he had, well, come within 1% of that winning time, but he duplicated it exactly.
Here's the replay now. Watch Bruce get off the line just a little bit quicker than Jim and hold on for the victory.
Of course, the trick is they have the aerodynamics that are built into these basically factory production cars to keep it down on the racetrack and have enough power to pull you through.
So Bruce Allen is the winner of the Pro Stock Division. Let's go down to Marty Reed for a conversation with Bruce Allen.
Bruce Allen, I've got some good news for you. 747, 191 miles an hour.
Oh, we got that record.
And you got the win.
Yeah, that's the best we could do. That was a good run.
So cool, calm, and collected. I think you'd be doing backflips after a world record at over 191.
Oh, it's just hard getting yourself up, and when you finally win, it's not a letdown, but it's, you know, just a relief, and it's good to relax a little bit. It's a tense day.
One heck of a performance. Congratulations.
Yeah, Buddy and Dave had her tuned up. We just had a real good day. Didn't have any problems, and car ran flawlessly and just really did a good job.
Well, you've cut the points margin down to 90.
Oh, that's good. Next race we'll try and get ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
And our congratulations from up here in the booth to Bruce Allen, winner of the Pro Stock Division. Well, here is the Pro Funny Eliminator chart as we move into the finals, which features Dale Puldee against this man, Tim Gross. The first time that Tim has been in the finals this year in IHRA. Dale Puldee, who has won twice already this year. Boy, you got to give the nod as far as favorites at this point to Dale Puldee, but let's see what happens. He's in the near lane. Gross is in the far lane.
Off the line, Puldee is powering away. Boy, Bob, I'll tell you, yeah I think he's making this one look like pretty easy 9-to-5 work.
Dale Puldee wins again. 252.80 miles an hour. It's a 5.780 run for Dale.
You know, he had a disappointing season in 1984, but like 1977 and 1982, when this guy gets hot, he becomes almost invincible.
We take a look at it once again, and I think you will see that Dale Puldee was in command from the very beginning.
Well, you know, in each of the last 2 rounds, he pulled off a slower speed in terms of miles per hour than his opponents, but he had a quicker ET. That reaction time is really holding him in good stead.
Tim Gross will have to wait for another, but it's been a good weekend for him. Let's go down once again to Marty Reed, who's with Dale Puldee.
Thank you. Got some good news for you. 578, 252 miles an hour. It's another Sunday drive on ESPN.
Well, I'm really glad to see it. It's had a lot of good luck with the Buick people this weekend out here helping us and doing a little technical work. And the Miller people are still behind us, and the champion and the whole crew. Bill Schultz, Randy Green, Mike Klober, and my wife Maria.
You know, you only ran once in the 80s, everything else in the 70s. Just a tremendous performance.
Crew prepared a good car.
And the driver did a good job.
I think so. I'll take it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The winner of the Pro Funny Car Division, Dale Puldee. Back with our closing comments in a moment.
It's a little tough time, but I got to tell you, you put in Herculean efforts to get through this race.
Well, not only just myself, but there's 1,000 other people behind it. You know, all the people are my good friends and all that from back home in original hometown in St. Joe, and my crew and all that, and a great deal of thanks to Barbara and, of course, my Skoll sponsorship.
Well, I'll tell you something. You showed what drag racing's all about, that it's never give up, and we'll be there next round.
Well, you bet. You can never say die. You got to do the best you can at all times.
See you down the road.
Thank you. You will.
And our congratulations to Tim Gross, runner-up in the Pro Funny Car division this weekend. We saw a lot of good competition, but Larry, we also saw some unusual things.
Yeah, for the first time that I can remember, a dispute between a couple of visual electronic media. I don't know which one you want to go with, but it certainly caused some discrepancy in one of those races and more speed. You begin to wonder, do you think that 270 miles an hour is possible? Oh, I doubt it, but you never know, do you?
Another great job of covering the pit area by Marty Reed. Marty, your closing comments.
In Pro Stock, a new world record of 191 miles an hour set by Bruce Allen, and maybe now people will stop referring to him as Lee Shepard's replacement and start referring to him as Bruce Allen. He is his own racer. And for Dale Pulte, 2 in a row on ESPN, and each round he got better, faster, finally finishing off with a 252-mile-an-hour blast. We'll find out if he can make it 3 in a row in Cincinnati.
Thank you, Marty. We'll see you down the road. Well, the Motorcraft Northern Nationals have been brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. Thank you for joining us. For Marty Reed and Larry Newber, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.
Oh, boy. We look back at the real good. Oh!